It's Kyle here, and today I'll be reviewing episodes 4 through 6 of Season 2 of Andor. So warning, these reviews will include spoilers, so if you haven't watched the episodes yet, please go watch them first and then come back and watch my review. Also, like I did for the first 3 episodes of this season, instead of reviewing them episode by episode, I'm kind of more reviewing by the story arcs within the episode, so I'll be jumping around. Not necessarily in order, but kind of following the storylines as they progress over the 3 episodes. With that being said, I will say episode 6 was my favorite of this arc. 4 and 5 were good, but I thought 6 was great. Overall, I think I did enjoy episode 1 through 3 a lot better, so that is kind of my favorite episode block so far. We'll see if that holds. I think one reason why I enjoyed the first 3 episodes a bit more than this batch. One, Mon Mothma and her storyline was a lot more prominent in episode 1 through 3, and I think anytime she's in the show, it really clicks for me even more. So the fact that she was more of a minor storyline in this episode arc probably lessened my enjoyment a little bit compared to the first 3 episodes. But overall, there were some elements of this arc in episodes 4 through 6 that I really enjoyed a lot, and it has me very intrigued / excited for the next story arc. I don't know if I should say excited, because obviously Andor is not the most happy-go-lucky show in the world. It's you definitely watch it and you feel like, oh, that really hit me hard, because you can tell, every arc is going to have some bad things happen, and this was definitely the case in this one. But with that being said, let's get started talking about episode 4 through 6 in season 2 of Andor. All right, right off, I should say a big difference between this 3-episode block versus the 3 that started the season was there wasn't quite as much planet hopping in this batch. Really, I would say like 90-95% of the action took place in 2 points. It's Coruscant or Ghorman. So it's a lot more compact, and a lot of our characters were intersecting more than they did in the first 3 episodes. And I would expect, obviously, Ghorman's going to be a huge focus of this entire season. So that it surprised me. I was very happy to see Coruscant feature so much. I always love that, and seeing Cassian and Bix on Coruscant was very cool. I really enjoyed that. I do like the theory that it's actually easier for them to hide in a planet that is populated as Coruscant, because there's just so many people there. It's easier to blend in the crowd. Where you're in like more of a rural farm planet, there's just not that many people there. So when the Empire shows up, it's nearly impossible to hide. So I really love that aspect, and we're getting to see Andor and Bix in a very different setting than we've ever seen them before. And I think I'll kind of focus on their storyline first while I'm at it. Obviously, Bix is still really going through it. She's still doing so much post-traumatic stress disorder after, obviously, all the torture she went through. Honestly, the sexual assault she went through the last story arc. But we also learned she's been going on missions with Andor, and something happened in a recent mission where Cassian killed a soldier, and Bix really thinks it's because of her. And later Andor does admit it, that it's because this guy saw her face and he doesn't want her to be caught. He kills the soldier because he just doesn't want anybody to know where Bix is. So you tell she's just dealing a lot here. The one thing that I guess helping her some is obviously her and Cassian are clearly in a relationship, and he is being very supportive. He's very much there. You can tell, tell me what's going on. I'm here to listen. I'm here to support you. He's not luckily being like, oh, just get over it. What's going on with you? What's wrong with you? He's being the supportive person, but she's went through so much. She is really struggling, and as she says at one point, she does better when she has something to do. So she wants to go on missions with Cassian more often, but Cassian wants to protect her, so I think he'd rather her stay in their safe house. I think that's also why the first episode of this arc, she's constantly coming with ideas about how they can redecorate their safe house. Because I think she's looking for things to keep her busy, because when she doesn't have anything to do and she has time, her mind to kind of think, that's when all these traumatic events come back to her. So she needs to keep herself busy, keep herself distracted. And it's a struggle she deals with throughout this arc. Eventually, Cassian is sent on a mission that he agrees to reluctantly to go on Luthen, probably because it's portrayed as a very safe mission. So he leaves Bix behind. And I'll kind of focus on Bix for a little bit. We see her at one point staring out the window, and she's clearly taking some drugs. And for a second, my heart sunk. It's like, oh, please, is she not? Please don't tell me she's committing suicide. I was hoping maybe she was just taking drugs or sleeping pills or something to help her deal with the stress. And luckily, that was more the case. She's basically taking a drug to help her sleep. Still not a good sign, because you can tell it's not exactly a legal over-the-counter sleeping aid. Luthen actually comes by the safe house to kind of check on her, because Cassian has kind of confided in him that she's not doing well. I think Luthen is probably doing a little bit of concern, but more like, is she a liability? Is she going to get Cassian in trouble? Or are there ways I can use her on a mission if she's actually doing well? And he finds the drugs, as you're saying, lets her know, like, this will help you sleep for now, but eventually it will stop working and your nightmares will come back and they'll be even worse than they were before, and really warns her off. So it's definitely really hard to see what's happening with Bix. I'll go ahead and jump to the end of this story arc, because it does kind of is a big moment for Bix, and hopefully this is a sign that maybe she's being able to start a new stage of her life. Basically, early on in the episode, in a different storyline, it's revealed that Dr. Gorst, who is the Imperial officer who tortured her, has now been basically is in a partnership. He's become so well known for his torture methods with the ISB that the Imperial Navy is going to get to use him as well. So he is coming to Coruscant to kind of begin this like joint torture partnership between the ISB and the Imperial Navy. And because Luthen has a spy within the ISB, he learns this. And Luthen, I think, is a way to try to make good with Cassian and Bix. Lets them know, like, hey, this person's here. Maybe this is a chance to get some revenge. And sure enough, the episode ends. We see Dr. Gorst going into his office, and Bix is there, and quickly subdues him, ties him up to his torture machine. And a very chilling moment, she's like, he's like, you look familiar, who are you? And it basically lets he's tortured so many people, he cannot even remember who he's tortured. And of course, I think that even hits Bix harder, because for her, this man has been living in her head non-stop since he's tortured her, and he doesn't even remember her. And I think it makes her want revenge even more. So she connects him to the torture machine and turns it on, and it's very much like in season 1 when Bix does, when she hits that button, all the silence fades out, and you just see the look on his face, the utter terror that he's going through. And it's quite a moment for Bix. As she's leaving, she reunites with Andor, who's been waiting outside, and he hits a button and they explode the room where Dr. Gorst is in. So it's presumably killing him and also destroying all his research. Hopefully that torture method is gone for good within the Star Wars universe. Let's go back to Cassian and finish up his story arc. He's sent to Ghorman on a mission by Luthen. Love his undercover part. This might be my favorite part of the episode. Or he goes undercover as a fashion designer, and we really see how much he's developed as an agent. Before I think we've ever seen him, he's just kind of always the same person. This is the first time I think we've really seen him put on a character, and he's really good at it. And we also see how much he's grown as a rebel, as he meets with the Ghorman Front, which was his mission from Luthen, and kind of like to figure out, is this group legit? How skilled are they? Should we help them? And basically, Cassian quickly saw, like, this is a bunch of amateurs. They don't really know what they're doing. They have a noble cause. They're doing it for the right reason, but they've basically waited too late to rebel. The Empire is already fully embedded on Ghorman, and there's really, in Cassian's opinion, nothing they can do about it, especially given their skill set. And if they begin attacking the Empire, it's just going to be a massacre for the Ghormans. And he basically comes back to Luthen and says, like, hey, I don't think we should get involved. They don't know what they're doing. It's just going to get us in more trouble than work, and it's going to kill a lot of innocent people. And Luthen kind of, it's like, is that a bad thing? Because like, from Luthen's point of view, if a planet like Ghorman rebels and the Empire cracks down it that hard, it might make other planets think about, like, is the Empire really the best thing? Like, this really chills Cassian, and he's like, I don't know. Cassian comes back, and that's when him and Bix, really connect even more, and he's like, I'm here for you. And then that's when he learns that Luthen had confronted Bix while he's gone, and Cassian goes and actually confronts Luthen. He breaks protocol. I think that's when Luthen realizes how much Bix means to Cassian. and how loyal Cassian has been to Lupin, and maybe he should do something. And I think that's one reason why he does pass along that intel about Dr. Gore. So basically, like, maybe I owe these people something. All right, because Cassian does not fulfill his mission with the Ghorman front the way Luthen does, he sends Vel and Cinta, his hardcore revolutionaries that he knows they'll do whatever he tells them, and he basically tells them, like, I want y'all to help the Ghormans do this planned operation. It was nice to see, Vel and Cinta reunite. We learned that they haven't seen each other in over a year, that Cinta had some sort of injury, accident happened to her, and she's been a long time recovering, and she's kind of changed her perspective. Like, she's no longer as hardcore revolutionary now. I think her brush with death basically means, there should be more than life than just fighting the Empire, which makes the events of this story even more tragic, because as they're helping the Ghormans, because again, like Cassian said, these Ghormans, they don't know what they're doing. They have a noble purpose, but they're just completely inexperienced. And sure enough, they make a couple mistakes during this planned attack / robbery against the Empire, and it results in Cinta being accidentally killed by actually a Ghorman. The Empire weren't even there to fight. They were just kind of robbing an autonomous vehicle, and Cinta is still accidentally killed, and it crushes Vel. And she has an amazing monologue at the end of the episode where she's confronting the Ghorman who killed Cinta by accident, basically said, like, this is your fault. You're not worthy of being the person who killed Cinta. And basically almost like, you better live an amazing life to make up for this. And there's no way you're going to be able to actually make up for this. This better be with you for the rest of your life. Don't ever forget what you did. And it was a very chilling moment. It'll be very interesting to see what Vel's headspace is like after this, after losing the person that meant so much to her. The other part of the Ghorman storyline was Cyril, who we learned at the beginning of the episode arc, is now living on Ghorman and still working for the Empire. We see him on a phone call with his mom, and he's kind of, like, I'm not sure what's going on with Ghorman. The Empire's going to be unfair, and the entire time this happens, like, this doesn't really seem like Cyril. I don't really see this character development type happening. I wonder if something's going on, especially since, his girlfriend, is in charge of Ghorman for the ISB. And sure enough, we learned that the Ghormans are, like, monitoring Cyril, and they think he's, a possible ally, and we do then eventually see him make contact with Dedra and basically saying, like, hey, it's working. I'm making contact with the Ghorman front. And so we learned he is a double agent. And Cyril as a double agent is very, very interesting. You can tell this is almost his dream job. In fact, later in the episode, when he provides a key piece of information to the ISB when he's going back to visit Coruscant, to Partagaz, and Partagaz actually gives him a compliment. Later he confides to Dedra, like, oh, this is the best day of my life, which is, I don't know if this is the best thing to tell your girlfriend when we've been doing, hopefully you'll have some big moments in your relationship, and like a random person at the ISB giving you a compliment is the best day in your life. I'm not sure if I would necessarily agree with that, but you can tell he's really enjoying playing this double agent. I think this is probably his dream job since he was in corporate security. And weirdly, he's doing a really good job at it. Sadly, though, even though he's really connecting with the Ghorman front, and he's really hearing why they're rebelling and why they hate the Empire, and they have very legit reasons, he doesn't really seem to care at all. All he cares about is how he can help the Empire. So I was hoping that would have some sort of impact on him, but it doesn't seem to be at all. All right, and the last storyline I wanted to hit on was Luthen and Clea, and they have a moment where they find out Skolden has a piece of his collection has been rolled inauthentic, and it's made him furious, and so he's going to have his entire collection re-verified. And that sends them into a panic because they've planted a bug on one of the items in his collection so they can spy on him when he's having conversations. Probably because he does have a close relationship with a lot of Imperial officers. So he is hosting a big party, and so they have to go to this party to try to get this bug off this piece. And that's scene where that's happening, where Clea is doing that, and she's having the ISB officer, who's actually one of Luthen's agents, which I apologize, I forgot his character's name at the moment, kind of helping her do that. That story was maybe my favorite scene or set piece during the episode. It was very thrilling. You didn't know if it was going to be successful, if this was going to be how she was caught, maybe begin the downfall of Luthen. But everything going on in that scene was amazing, probably because Krennic was there, and Krennic and Mothma was there. We're having some amazing dialogue where, Mon Mothma's taking more of the side of rebels and revolutionaries, and Krennic's taking the more side of order and anti-rebels, and they're just criminals and stuff like that. And all their dialogue are the various pieces of artifacts they're looking at, and how they both try to spin it to their political views was absolutely fascinating. And I love the moment when they leave the party of Luthen and Clayla, when they've been successful in their mission. And you actually see a moment for the first time I think we've ever seen them really where they're happy. They're like, we succeeded. And they've been making jokes like, we should have killed Krennic at the party while we were there. That's one thing that would have made the night better. It was really cool to see that point. But I think it also was interesting to see, like, Luthen keeps on trying to keep all his agents from having any connections with other people. But yet he has this person that he connects with so much. And it seems like he's the only person he can be himself around. So hopefully maybe as their relationship gets better, maybe he'll relax and realize like, hey, my agents, these rebels, we need to bring them together more. So anyway, that was kind of what happened in episodes 4 through 6. The stuff on Ghorman is very interesting. Very intrigued to see where it leads. I think obviously we're going to have a bad stuff happen on Ghorman that leads Mon Mothma leaving the Senate and becoming a full-fledged rebel. Don't know if it'll happen in the next arc or not, or if it'll be the last arc in the season, but it's weird to think we're already halfway through. And I'm not ready for Andor to be over, but we're almost there. So let me know in the comment section below, what did you think about this story arc and what was your favorite part of it? If you enjoyed my review, please hit the like button. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. Appreciate the support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you the next time, and may the Force be with you.